when I was given this topic, and I'm sorry that I won't be, I'm not such a powerful and eloquent speaker. So I will try to summarize and say whatever I can. And my Hindi is not that perfect, so I think if I have to make the gist of my argument, I'll try to make it in English. Because I think these issues are important, relevant, and we need to go to the roots of what this problem is. If we have to go to the roots of, you can call it Hindudvesha, you can call it Hindusmia as Shubhendu refers, or Hinduphobia. The root of this aversion to Hinduism is the concept of idolatry. There have been a lot of discussion about Islam and idolatry and the basis of Islam and idolatry. The basis of Islam is aversion to idolatry. I don't think there can be a denial of that. But what is not greatly discussed and what needs to be also understood, that the aversion to idolatry is also the cornerstone of the founding of Christianity. The revolution of Christianity, which happens at the time of Constantine, Rome, for majority of its history, is a civilization, a faith which believed in multiplicity of idols. That is the truth. When Constantine comes to power and Christianity is declared as state religions, idols are then taken out of temples and they are broken. Everyone who is then not a Christian is officially persecuted with the help of state power. So there are decrees by which old temples are destroyed. Anyone who knows history would know that the ancient Egyptian temples are destroyed. The ancient Greek temples are destroyed. The ancient Roman temples are destroyed. And there is that very famous incident, I don't know how many of you know Roman history, of Hypatia of Alexandria, who is flayed in Alexandria because she says, she doesn't agree to the Christian doctrine. But what is most interesting, and this is, and anyone who wants to read about this, I would recommend a very interesting book by Catherine Nixie called Darkening Age. I would recommend it. The most interesting thing, and which I think is the dilemma which we face today, is the words of a Roman bureaucrat who sees all this happening in front of himself. He's a powerful bureaucrat, and he sees this world changing. He sees the persecution of those who do not follow Christianity in front of him. Those who believe in the old religion, or multiplicity of idols and idols worship, and not idols, and icon worship of places, of spirituality in living spirituality. And he says this very plaintively. He says, why are they doing this to us? We believe that all faiths are true. So this is the question which I think is the key to understanding the entire concept of Hinduphobia or Hindudvesha. The crux of, for the want of a better word, and I'm not using this pejoratively, I'm using this as a matter of fact, the crux of Abrahamic thinking is that there is one God. And there is an aversion built into it, and of not only the Abrahamic thinking, and which I say extends to liberalism, which extends to communism, which extends to socialism, is the aversion to any form of what is considered as idolatry. Even if you read socialism, the breaking down of icons, if you read liberalism, the breaking down of icons is attributable to that. And I think that is an aversion, according to this form of thinking, of the old world. And the basis of thinking is this, that idolatry is lurking in the background, and if you don't violently suppress it, it will come back. You read it in any book on liberal text. That is what they believe. The old world is bad. It has to go. It has to be destroyed. Because if you don't destroy the old world, it will come back. And that is the root cause. And this lies across any Western thought. And this is something which we sort of have to accept. The tool or the rhetoric which has always been used against the old world, as anyone who studies both Christian literature as well as even modern Islamic literature, even during the time of the Iranian Revolution, the argument against the old world is always the concept of radical equality. Equality, the old world is assumed to be against equality, even though, even amongst the people of the new, people who believe in the new faith, there may be inequality. There may be interstate inequality. But the entire argument against the old world is that it is unequal and therefore needs to be destroyed root and branch. And this is something, as long as the Western global ecosystem, which, whether we like it, whether we do not like it, is a colonial enterprise, as it exists today, exists, you will be at the receiving end. The system is, you are the only, as Nupurji said, you are the only remnant of the old world. The only remnant standing remembrance of the old world. And to that, as long as you exist, your very existence is a slap on the face of this entire system which functions. And as long as you exist and you look at the outpourings, the misgivings which people have in America about yoga, which you think is a normal, cool thing and people doing, but the way people are afraid of that, and the reason why people are afraid of that is they are afraid of the old world coming back. That's built into liberalism, that's built into socialism, that is built into any form of Western ideology. And that, I think we'll have to address this, and that's the DNA of it. I think, what are the two ways? And I'll end off by saying this. What are the two ways to do it? One is, you have to succeed. If you succeed as a society in the world, your world will change. And I always say this about globalization and liberalization, the liberal structure. People took colonialism as the natural order of things, till people in India outthought it and defeated it. And that was in near future. And then the entire colonialism all over the world unraveled. So people take globalization 2.0, which is colonialism 2.0, etc., etc. Similarly, the economics are the same, it's just disguised in a different name. And the fact of the matter is, if you succeed, and you show that you can succeed, your systems can succeed, your institutions can succeed, your orientation can succeed, the project will fail. It will fail all over the world like it failed the last time, not even 100 years back. So you have to strengthen your institutions. You have to create your own institutions. You have to support your own institutions. People's perception of the world, of you, will change. The reason why, for the better word, let's talk constructively, why Islamophobia is now an issue which is usually discussed, is because there are powerful forces which back that. With your success and your power multiplied throughout the world, you can change that. It's going to be difficult, there is going to be a pushback, but you will have to do that in order to change the system. Last, with this I will end, and I don't want to go into controversy because I know that I hold a government position. But I think these are real issues, and I think mere rhetoric will not solve it. We need a very, very clear method. So therefore, I do admire the work which has been done in America, because it's being done in a very systematic manner, organized manner, and in a manner which is extremely important to push the issues forward. and to provide an alternate. Because otherwise, these things are in the air. In India, my alternative is this. There needs to be, and this is my view, academic view, personal view, nothing to do with the government. I personally think that we should have a legislation which criminalizes attack on Hindu symbols and on the faith. Now, the moment you do that, the cat will be set amongst the pigeons. You saw what an innocuous legislation like CAA, which was innocuous, which everybody agreed was for good, everybody agreed that the victims were victims. You saw, and the only ground was it discriminated certain communities. And it was not so much that the communities were involved, but the communities were a front for others who wanted to put the communities in front so as to do their work. You will face this issue again. And this we have to be prepared for. For this, you have to create a process of people who will advocate and who will be willing to push this narrative and push this forward. Maybe a movement, maybe whatever you want. Without this, you will not be able to sustain this sort of a legislation coming forward. And with this, I will only summarize and come to an end by saying this, that in the end, irrespective of these wonderful seminars and very interesting, which makes us very happy, it requires systematic action. It requires organized thought, and it requires for us to work on this on a regular basis by working to build up institutions and laws which will make this permanent. Thank you.